Hi, it's Monday, it's 3 o'clock. Welcome to Together Unlocked, brought to you as always by Together 2012. We're led by disabled artists based in the main London 2012 host borough of Newham. I'm Ju Gosling, also known as Ju90. I'm an artist and artistic director of Together 2012. With me in my East London studio, as always, because she's been locked in with me since March, is our chair, the artist Julie Newman. We'll come back to East London for some audio description in a minute, but first, at the other end of our very long virtual sofa, in what appear to be colder conditions than East London, we have our West Midlands hosts for some introductions and some audio description.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon. I'm Robin Surgeonator. I am the business director of Together 2012 and an artist known as Angry Fish. Yeah, we're up here in Sutton Coldfield where we've had actually a fair degree of rain in the last 24 hours. It's not cold. I'm not quite, I was a bit astonished to see Josh suddenly dressed in a hooded sweatshirt. So there you go. Um, I'm as surprised as you are. um, yeah, so and it's okay up here, but yeah, very sporadic rain at the moment. Together, I just to give myself a description. I am wearing a brown Bob Marley t-shirt. I'd mentioned this one before, but I rather like it, and I'm convincing myself actually that it is warm. So it's a very summery coloured t-shirt. So it's a brown-based t-shirt, but with green, gold, and red bands across the middle with the words Exodus and Bob Marley and stuff. And I am sporting my shorter haircut and glasses and a very unshaved face. But there we go.
I am Josh Surgeonator. I'm a PhD student and one of the hosts of Together TV. I have kind of swept over blonde hair, a gingery, very ginger beard now that I've let it grow out. Um,
There's not much difference.
uh, and I'm wearing a red hooded sweatshirt that has a large gold lion on the left breast with a black outline. And yeah, that is me.
Is that Harry Potter by any chance?
It is, yeah. You can't see it on the show, but it has a kind of black underneath that says Gryffindor, and then it says
And you
Gryffindor in
do
big letters. It's a Quidditch hoodie.
slightly You do look very slightly like Ron Weasley. We always have an argument on the discussion about whether he is blonde or ginger because we're very ginger here in East London. While we're introducing ourselves, I think there's a slight lighting problem over in the West Midlands. I can't lip
I've
read your faces very easily.
I've just realised that actually. Sorry. So
Okay, so you get on with that and we'll do some descriptions. So I'm in my late 50s. I have a short tenured self administered corona crop. I've got a white t-shirt with the pattern or in silver and maroon of some kind of electronics board, very appropriate for our app date at 3:15. I've got silver jewelry and black wrist braces. Julie, who are you and what do you look like?
I'm the chair. I've got silver and gold hair. I've got dark rimmed glasses. I've got a perennial favourite polo shirt, which is dark navy blue with blankets on it.
Coming up at 3:15, we have the second of our new AppDate features. So, if you're interested, and you should be, in the pilot project for the NHS Test and Trace app, we have got more news coming up. So, I believe it's now past 3:15 and time for our AppDate. So, I'm cueing you to say, Robin.
yes, what's app doc?
You can see we're struggling away already. So, AppDate is our new spot for the next month or so, possibly longer, possibly forever, given how important apps are to artists these days. But we're all very excited at the news that the new NHS app is finally ready to test, and it's going to be tested in Newham. What's going to be happening is I think by Friday, every resident is going to receive a letter with a special code, and that's going to give you priority access to the app. What we need you to do is download the app, install it, and use it. And over the next few weeks, when we get sight of it, which I'm going to get a preview tomorrow as one of the first people, then we'll be going through all of this in a lot more detail. In the meantime, if you don't live in Newham, you can still help make this the world beating app that everybody needs. And in particular, you can help make it accessible to disabled people. Let us know, what do you like and loathe about apps? What is your favorite app? What is the most common problem you have downloading and installing apps? Anything app related you want to tell us, get on the email. It's still running across the bottom of the screen now. info@together2012.org.uk or tv@together2012.org.uk. But we're also going to be talking about how apps are designed, the interfaces, the careers for artists within apps, and the kind of apps that we can use within our artwork. So let's go round in this session. Who's got a favourite app they would like to talk about?
Well, there's one I really appreciate. There are loads. They're going through my head now.
I'm leaving.
uh, um, I mean, I'm not sure exactly what, because some of these have pay for versions of them, and I think that's something we should make sense. A lot of apps that you get will say to them, download purchasable content or additional purchases may be required and stuff like that. So that's something to be really, really careful of and ensure that you can't accidentally spend loads of money. And if you have a child, I mean, yes, EJ did once spend about £200 on buying something on a Pokemon, I think it was. And in fairness, the iTunes store went, yeah, we can see this, and gave me all the money back. But that's not the point. Don't get there in the first place. So my app, I mean, as a musician that I like and claim that I don't do cover versions, is one. It's called Ultimate Guitar, and it's got hundreds, tens of thousands, if not more, user versions of songs. So if you want to know how to play something by Lady Gaga, you go into the app, type in Lady Gaga, and it'll give you a list of songs that have been transcribed, usually in chord versions. There are, as I say, there are paid versions which go into more professional levels with all kinds of manuscripts and things like that. But the basic kind of chord versions of songs are in the free version, and it's great because then you realize how many songs you still can't play.
We'll be putting all of these apps on the highlights and links page, so don't worry about finding them. Yeah, that just sounds amazing. What's your favourite app, Josh?
So I'm disappointed that I didn't say I was appalled at your jokes. The other one, the app that I use outside of Google Maps so I don't get lost, is Audible. I absolutely love Audible. Every year, sorry,
absolutely.
Shocking. Yeah, no, Audible is, I mean, you get a kind of email at the end of each year that has your kind of stats of kind of how much you've listened to it that year, and it's always many hundreds of hours. I'll have to tie it up for Wednesday what my total listening time is, but it's going to be quite high. But yeah, I mean, I have all sorts of kind of genres of books, from sci-fi, kind of crime books, thriller books, through to kind of non-fiction. And it's great. You can pop it on while you're cleaning, while you're driving, you go to bed. Yeah, love it.
Is it a subscription? Is it like a monthly subscription?
It can be. So what you can do is the app itself is free. An account in theory is free because it runs through Amazon, and because they brought it. So you can buy books for money, however much it is. They do have kind of free books and things.
There was a lot of free books on Amazon, isn't there?
Yeah, there's and they've started doing kind of original content, which are almost kind of podcast type things. That they're all free, but then yes, there's subscriptions. So the one that I have, I think, is $7.99 a month. That might be a grandfathered price, I'm not sure, but and basically for that I get a credit a month. I mean, one credit is one book, so that book could be 5p, and you can get it through a credit, or it can be £200 and it's one credit. So it's a pretty good deal. And a lot of the books that I get, because they're kind of longer books, they're kind of 15 to 20 hours typically for a novel. They're normally kind of 30-40 pounds. Whereas you can just use a credit and it's that's it. And then if you don't use it, they stack as well. If you don't use it, it doesn't lose, it just stays. So you can have
an extra credit from me. Can you define what an app is?
An app is a piece of software that can be used on an electronic device for a specific purpose.
Is it not just application for
Yeah.
Well, what I'm thinking is you can watch this show on YouTube on your TV. You do not need to have a smartphone or a computer. So I do think we should get back to some basics as well, but I'm going to let you off for today. And
I googled it. It says an application, especially as downloaded by a user to a mobile device. So I was close.
Yes, I think all of this makes perfect sense if you know what an app is, but I'm still going to get us to do a bit of research for Wednesday to say if you haven't used a smartphone and you don't have a computer, how can we define this in plain English or indeed easy words and pictures? Julie, what's your favourite app?
At the moment, Kindle. I have Kindle Unlimited, which again is a subscription, but it means I can have 10 free books at a time. And that's a rolling program. They have a range of books which are free for unlimited reading, which I use. I very rarely ever buy a book, an electronic book. But I've been reading over the last 2 weeks. I've been reading a whole series of detective stories set in the Fenlands and the Northeast, and absolutely loving them. I've really, really enjoyed them. The difficulty I have with Josh's Audible is that I go to sleep. Quite simply, as soon as somebody says, and then the door was open, and I go,
but it is still quite useful if you're an insomniac. Yes, I mean, I think the Kindle app has been incredibly useful because what it means is you can read a Kindle book without having a Kindle. And I've got about 3 different sorts of Kindle, but I haven't used any of them for, I think, about 2 years when I went off to work in South Korea for a week and just took the Kindle app on my phone. And ever since, I've been reading the books on the phone or the iPad because it's either smaller or bigger than the Kindle. So that's just a piece of software that turns my telephone, my computer, my iPad, everything I want to into a Kindle book. And I have a very small publishing company, and I still get people, particularly at the moment, wanting to order books in print and me having to explain that I can't get to the post office, but everything is available on Kindle. And then people say to me, well, I don't have a Kindle. And actually, nobody needs a Kindle. And you download the app, it's completely free, and you can access literally hundreds of thousands of books, including the whole of what's known as the Gutenberg project. And the Gutenberg project started back in the early 90s, and the idea was that every single book that was out of copyright would be scanned into this database. So every single classic you can imagine is available for free, and you can, like I say, run the Kindle app on just about anything, including some pretty old phones. But without further ado, we will say that's it for today. So can we have another dreadful pun to finish up with the AppDate?
Well,
I would appreciate it.
Apologies.
Round of applause.
All right, yeah.
What were the
And-
apologies for, Julie?
for banging on.
Apologies for the dreadful.
I find it all very appealing.